Hello and welcome back to the Fermented World Homebrew channel. I haven't made a video for a while, so trying to get back into the swing of things. It's just been school holidays. First week of the school holidays, I have done absolutely nothing to do with brewing other than bottle this New England IPA, which tasted amazing. It's a Verdant clone. Verdant are a British craft beer company. They make exceptional beers, and they even have their own, I want to say, it's not a brand of yeast, but they have their own strain of yeast, which they've developed themselves, and then is produced by the, I believe it's the Lallemand, might be pronouncing that wrong, but anyway, Verdant IPA yeast, really good, check it out. Anyway, less of the hoo-ha. Today we're looking in on the Forest Berry Mead. Now this had a big bag of mixed fruit. It had strawberries, raspberries, cherries, red currants, black currants, and blueberries. So 6, I thought it was 5. 6 different types of berry. So when we come to do the dry fruit part, it did get quite expensive. I think it was about £52. Now obviously I'm not going to be using the whole bag of all of these. I plan to use about 50 grams of each, because we do have a heck of a lot and we want to keep the costs down if possible. Some are dried, some are not so dried, some are in pieces, but I just went on what I could get my hands on, really. That's the black currants, red currants, we've got strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, and already got some cherries, so we're going to be banging some of them in. Again, 50 grams of each, try and keep the costs down. I will calculate how much it would have cost for a 50 gram portion of this, because I do have a couple of friends that do come for the mead sometimes, and I just charge them whatever it costs, you know. I don't make anything. Feedback is priceless, the way I see it. So we're going to open this up. It's been sat for flipping ages, like I don't even know how long. Same as these two meads here. It's gone, that's only just in its first fermentation and it's gone clear. So we really do need to get back into the swing of keeping up with these things. I've still got a video to upload actually. We're thinking about it. I'll try and get that uploaded tonight. And now I'm just waffling. So we're going to get this opened up. We're going to take a hydrometer reading, which I do have a hydrometer, honestly. I did sterilise one, although recently I have broken 2, so I do actually need to buy a replacement in case this one breaks again. So there's the hydrometer. We are going to be transferring this into another big boy, yeah boy, bad boy, simply because I don't want to put it into demijohns, mainly because I don't think the amount of fruit will work very well with it. So yeah, I mean, ooh, it smells very fruity. I need somewhere to put this where it's not in contact with anything that isn't sterilised. It was recently sterilised anyway, so we'll just pop that on there because we're going to reuse the lid. Yes. That needs to come down now. Out of the way. We're going to take a quick hydrometer reading. Now there is a lot of fruit in this. I expect amazing colour. which we've definitely got. But we're going to be dragging a fair bit of fruit with it as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly sterilise I mean, look at that, that's beautiful. That is absolutely magnificent. Quickly sterilise a muslin sock or muslin bag, whatever you want to call it. Basically a fabric cloth of some sort, and it's going to get filtered through that, leaving most of the stuff behind. So quickly bosh that into the sterilising water I've got over here. That is that now sterile and ready to rock and roll in a second. So I'm going to do things a little bit differently to what I'd normally do. Normally I'd do it where it's up here and down there. What I'm going to do instead is bring this one down this time. Let's have a quick look at that. Sorry, I never did check it. We're pretty much on the mark of it completely fermenting, to be honest. 0.992 is where we're at. Let's have a little taste of that. See if the fruitiness is coming through or not. And it looks awesome. Completely gone. Wow, that smells extremely fruity. Very fruity, but very dry. So we need to do something about that by adding some more honey. Bear with me 1 second. And I'm going to remove that, put that back in there, that'll be okay. It's all been sterilised so it can go back in. Then I'm going to move this stack of stuff that I normally put stuff on, and that is going to be what we place our other bucket on, like so. Then we're going to get our auto siphon. Just need to make sure that that is going to be safe. I'm not 100% certain it is, so let's move those off it and we'll just go with that. That seems a bit more sturdy. That's going to go into there. That's going to go into there in a second. But first, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding our stoppers into here, so then as it goes in, it mixes as well, which is nice. And now I've blocked off my flipping cupboard, which isn't nice, because I kind of need to get in there. I don't know, you take a bit of time out of making videos and you come back a complete novice. That is to say that I was not a novice anyway. Amateur. Or amateur. I don't know what to class myself as. A hobbyist is what I'd say. Because I don't do it for monetary gain or anything. I mean, it'd be nice to be paid for making videos. But, you know, any of the things that you see, advertisements and stuff like that, that's nothing to do with me. So I do apologise if YouTube stick a load of them in. Half a teaspoon per gallon. Well, this is a 2-gallon batch, so we're going in with a full teaspoon. And that is potassium sorbate, one of the fermentation stoppers that we use. Rats, dropped it. And a Campden tablets, which is 1 per gallon, so we need 2 of these. And we're going to crush that down nice and fine, and that'll just dissolve into it as well. We will be giving this a really good mix in a bit, so not to worry too much about it. And yeah, I'm just going to take a short moment to sort out the dinner for the kids, and I'll be back. Okay, so as I said, we're going to be using this muslin sock, which is going to leave the majority of that behind. So we shall commence the racking. Now we could still get loads of gunk. There's every chance of that, but at least we're trying not to. Oh, that's beautiful. It's almost neon pink. Just gonna give that a little work around as it goes. Not sure why it's gurgling and splurgling, but it is, so that's that. Let's speed it up. Okay, so we've transferred that now into the clean demijohn, where it's going to be sat into secondary. We've got our stoppers in there. We're going to add some honey now. 2 of these should be sufficient. Looking at the mark of where it was earlier on when there's a bit of light on it, it does look like we've got a bit less than what is expected. I can't remember what that line was, 9 litre mark. So we might be all right actually. Might be all right. On the about 8 litre mark. So I did cover it while I was prattling around doing other stuff, simply because there's a lot of fruit flies around at the moment, and they will be straight in there, causing no end of trouble, getting drunk and falling all over the bloody place. So as I've said, we did try and cut out most of the gunk. We clearly didn't bring any of the fruit, which is good, which means that in secondary, once it's cleared out, anything that does drop out is not going to cause us as much of a problem when we come to bottle it. So we've done a hydrometer test, so we know what that was. That was at 0.992, and and the liquor of lids. Well, I see it as if there's honey on it. I don't want to waste it. So let's get some honey in there. Simply just put it in. You don't need to do it in circles. I don't know why I do that. I think I just like watching it. But yeah, get your honey in there. I probably should have boiled some hot water to help rinse these out with, but I forgot, so I'm going to do that now. And then what we'll do is, just before we add it, we'll add a little bit of cool water, which will then cool it down, make sure it's not going to affect the alcohol. Which it wouldn't anyway. Alcohol evaporates at, I want to say 87. It's been a while since I've been on that or even thinking about that. So yeah, I want to say 87 degrees, I'm not sure. But yeah, let's get this other pot of honey in. We're boiling the kettle, we're going to add a little bit of hot water to these and then rinse them out, then add a little bit of cold water just to balance it back off again. This tasted really good, very dry but very fruity, so we've retained quite a lot of the fruitiness. Maybe that's because of the amount of fruit that was in there, or the types of fruit that are in there, not quite sure. But yeah, we definitely got a nice flavour, and my drill is in the shed because I was using it in the garden to make a plate to put birdseed on. so I need to go get it. So I've added a little bit of hot water and it just helps rinsing it out, but just be careful because it is hot, like, you know, just boiled. And it just helps any that's crystallized get off there. I mean, look, there's still some crystallized in the bottom of that, but we'll get that in a second when we redo it. So as you do that, it does pressurize a little bit, so make sure you release the pressure and use a towel if it hurts your hand. Just please be careful when using hot water and stuff, because, you know, it's definitely not the one to get stuck on your skin. And also, if you get hot honey water on your hand, it's a bit different because it sticks because of the honey. It sticks to your skin a bit more. It's harder to wash off. I remember making a bochet, and where you caramelize the honey, and a bit of it dabbed on my skin, and oh my goodness, it was so painful. Right, let's add a bit of cold water to this now. And then what that does is it cools that down and just makes it a bit more manageable to go into here. We didn't get all of that crystalliness off there, so I'm just going to give it one more go, because otherwise it's just going to be wasted. There's no other use for it. It needs to be in this mead, really. And if it's in there, we've paid for it, we bloody well want it. This honey's relatively cheap honey. You can get this from Tesco's for about £4, or sometimes a bit cheaper on Amazon, if you so wish. So we're just going to add that now, which, lovely jubbly, adds to our overall volume, which isn't a bad thing at this point. It sounds like a bad thing by technically diluting it, but pardon me, what we've added up to that 9 litre mark will probably lose a small amount anyway to the dried fruit that we're about to weigh out and put in. But first, before we do that, we're going to mix that honey in real good. Make sure it's thoroughly mixed. You don't need to use a tool. I just do because I find it a lot easier. Saves time. And yeah, mixy mixy. We're doing it gently. We're not trying to add oxygen to this. As I say all the time, you add oxygen to it, you can potentially ruin your beverage. Nice and steady, making sure all that honey gets mixed in. And that reminds me what I didn't do. I didn't sterilise a spoon. I'm going to speed this bit up, because it could take up to 5 to 10 minutes, all depending. So, I've screwed up. I've put too much honey in. I don't know why I took 2 of them out. I only needed 1 of them because I used half of one to back sweeten each gallon. So this has now taken us up to something that's beyond the normal sweetness to what I'm used to. That's without even adding the fruit. So I'm not going to add the fruit because it'll only make it even sweeter. Now, it tastes fruity, it looks great, but it is super, super sweet. Which I'm not happy about. It's my own stupid fault. I just wasn't thinking straight, and I thought because it was a double batch I have to put double in, but I forgot that I'd only normally use 1 of these. Now I could dilute it down, but then that means we're not going to get the ABV that we want. and then there'll be no real way of actually knowing what the ABV is. So I've kind of ballsed it up, so don't make the same mistake as me if you're brewing this one. Yeah, so only add 1 pot if you are doing a 2-gallon batch, and a half a pot if you're doing a single gallon batch. Now, normally in a single gallon, you're aiming for around the 20 mark of sweetness of honey when you put it back in. So this is at 42, which, as I say, is very, very sweet. But we learn from our mistakes. I'll have to re-brew this with some dried fruit and try a blend again. And after waiting that long, I'm really annoyed with myself, but I kind of just jumped the gun. I've got other things going off, like cooking dinner, sorting the kids out and that. So it's not their fault. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying my brain wasn't really in it. And I screwed up. So that's where we're at. This is in secondary now. It's not having all that dry fruit in. So yeah, that's that. What I'll do is I'll just re-brew something else with those ones in, and we'll just deal with whatever this one is. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Sorry I screwed it up, and I'll see you all soon.